2 Chronicles 2, 11 and 12 says, Then Huram, the king of Tyre, answered in a letter and said to Solomon, Because the Lord loves his people, he's made you king over them. And then Huram continued, Blessed be the Lord, the God of Israel, who has made the heaven and the earth, who has given King David a wise son, endowed with discretion and understanding, who will build a house for the Lord and a royal palace for himself. Well, if you're joining us in reading through this 90-day reading plan, today's reading is 2 Chronicles 2, verse 11 through 3:17, and I encourage you to read that passage. Well, Solomon sent a letter to Huram, the king of Tyre, and asked if he would supply certain materials for the temple. Huram's reply gives an incredible amount of insight as to how Solomon was viewed in the non-Jewish world. Huram said that Solomon had been blessed by God. He said that Solomon had been given wisdom and understanding and a purpose or a goal in his life. Huram understood Solomon because of how Solomon presented himself and lived his life. Now, I've heard it said that sometimes it's easier to live with non-Christians than it is to live with Christians. And this, frankly, may be true. But with a non-Christian, how you live your life will have an impact on whether or not they turn to Christ. Now, I remember when I was in the Army, there was a chaplain in our base who was very worldly. He went to bars with the soldiers. He used the same language as the soldiers. He was their buddy, and he had absolutely no impact on soldiers' lives with whom he came in contact. Then there was another chaplain on our base who also had a great rapport with the soldiers, but he never went to the bars with them. He never used the same language that they used, and while he was their friend, he was not their buddy. And he had an incredible impact on all those soldiers. How we live our lives publicly as well as privately is either going to impact the world for Christ or impact the world for someone else. Our lives are not private. Our lives are very public. Even the most private of situations is very public. How we conduct ourselves and how we minister to people, even people who don't believe in what we believe, is going to have an impact on whether or not they come to Christ. People see our walk and then hear our words, not the other way around. They will only listen if they see that we are living how we say we are.